Who's the best cornerback in the NFL, Sam?
I think body of work, the best corner is still Sauce Gardner. I know it's the most difficult argument to make of the top guys because he's coming off the worst year. And his season last year was sort of above average, if not average at best. But body of work over the last 3 years, he's been the best corner in the NFL. He's the closest guy you're going to get to a true shutdown player. And I think a lot of the criticism of the guy that plays the game the way he does is always over the top, right? People criticize Revis for being too grabby. Like, grabby is part of playing corner. It's only, it's only a thing that you throw at people as prospects when it's like over the top and it's too big of a problem and it's over, like it's making up for shortfalls in the rest of their game. But Sauce Gardner's, it's not for him. He just is an extremely physical corner, and then sometimes he strays over the line. But look at what he's done at the NFL level. He's been the closest thing we've had to a shutdown corner in the last 3 years.
I think Sauce is very much in the mix. I went with the consistency of Pat Surtain the second. So Surtain, I think, just so good year in, year out. If there are tiebreakers here, I think everything about him is just fundamentally sound. Remember coming out, watching him coming out of Bama, and it's just like he doesn't lose. He doesn't lose deep. He doesn't grab at all. He's never, no penalties. He's incredibly patient. Patience of a monk, as I said. But he's also good in the run game. He's just so good all around. And I think we're starting to see him come into his own as well. So I went with Surtain slightly ahead. If we're talking a year from now, if it was Sauce Gardner, yeah. I mean, if he has a bounce back year, I think he's been outstanding. He doesn't have he has the on-ball production as far as pass breakups, Sauce, but not interceptions. Surtain, I think, is just very good at everything. And then you have a guy like Derek Stingley Jr., who has the big plays. He has the interceptions, but he's given up a few more big plays. And Stingley, I'd say, has had about a year and a half of good play in his 3 years, about a year and a half where he started to figure it out. Sauce, I think, has been better snap for 3 years. And Surtain, probably a tick better than Stingley over the course of the last few years as well. So it's close. I think it's a better battle than it was 4 or 5 years ago for the best cornerback in the NFL. I think we're starting to come back. The position's coming back as far as the number of elite players right now.
Yeah, I think it's a three-way conversation between those three: Patrick Surtain, Derek Stingley, and Sauce Gardner. And honestly, if we were doing it a year ago, I don't think it would be close. I think it would be Sauce Gardner comfortably as the only acceptable answer. Even like the last 3 years, you put the three of them together. So even factoring in the worst season from Sauce Gardner, he allows a passer rating into his coverage 20 points better than Surtain over the last 3 seasons. So Surtain, the average target for Surtain is giving you a passer rating of 86. The average target for Sauce is giving you 67. He's given up a third of the touchdowns that Surtain has given up in that time. He's given up about the same amount of yards per reception. He's given up He's given up a fraction of the first downs that Surtain has given up. So the stats would say Sauce Gardner has been better than Surtain over that period of time. And then those stats also, like, they do Stingley a bit of a disservice because his career has kind of been in the other direction. He started a bit slower than Sauce, but last season he was phenomenal. So I think that's the trio. If you think Stingley's going to pick up where he left off, he's into that conversation with the other two who have been there for the last few years. And then in the body of work says Sauce has been the better player, just not last year.
Yeah, these are interesting debates here because, like, Surtain has given up a much higher completion percentage into his coverage than Sauce. Sauce has a much higher forced incompletion percentage. Surtain's going to get a few more interceptions. I also think he's been in a little bit more difficult role with Denver, where they're using him to track opposing top receivers a bit more and everything. So this is gonna, and then Stingley has a chance to be the number one. If he has another big year, he has a chance to be the top guy. I think Stingley's a little bit more boom or bust to his game, but now I think he now is getting to feel. He just has a better feel right now, right? There's some to his game where there's guys running behind him a lot, but the number of times that he has the makeup speed, like, he just makes quarterbacks pay for mistakes. So I would say Sauce and Surtain don't give up they don't allow as much downfield separation as Stingley. But the number of times that Stingley just erased that with makeup speed and ball skills. So it's like playing a little on the edge, a little bit where that you can get burnt, but you're going to make some big plays. And I think that's where Stingley is. So he'll have those years like last year with the 5, 6, 7 interceptions. He'll have more of those years, I think, than Surtain or Sauce.
All right, that's enough of that, Steve. Over 50% of the people listening to this are not subscribed right now. So click that button, and then we can get back to whatever it is Steve's telling you about. Yeah, Stingley's the biggest turnover threat of the three. Like he's the guy where if you're not perfect with your ball location, he can punish you with an interception the way the other two are less likely to do. So that's definitely part of it. The other part, like a lot of it is how you weigh last season, right? How you weigh the most recent thing we saw. And we know at cornerback in particular, it's a volatile position, and year to year, guys can have a bad year. They can have a great year out of nowhere. Like we don't know if Derek Stingley is going to play the same as he did last year this year. We don't know if Sauce is going to play the same way as he did last year this year in completely different directions. So yeah, it's all about how you weigh the body of the work versus the most recent season we saw. The only difference with that is like Surtain, again, that consistency, he seems to be, that's his superpower. The man is freakishly consistent both year to year and both within games to a level no other cornerback seems to be.
Who else do you want to shout out? Who else could be number one on this list, or what does the future look like?
McDuffie, again, we keep saying, we said this with the last time we brought him up, like Trent McDuffie probably deserves to be in this conversation. He just never is.
Trent McDuffie definitely needs to be in the conversation. Quinyon Mitchell after last year?
Yeah, Quinyon Mitchell definitely would be a future one. I wouldn't put him in this group yet, but I think if you're looking for who are the next guys going to be, Quinyon Mitchell would definitely be in that conversation. One other player, by the way, that could potentially be in the top group already, Jalen Johnson from the Bears. Like he, again, how you weigh the most recent thing versus the total body of work. His total body of work has been more inconsistent, but his elite seasons have been up there with the top guys.
Yep, I agree on Jalen Johnson being up there, at least in the conversation. I wouldn't be surprised if Stingley's the guy a year from now. I'm surprised at how much negativity Sauce Gardner gets, even when he was competing with Tariq Woolen 2 years ago for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Woolen had all the interceptions. I don't know if it's just the lack of interception totals, but when you watch Sauce snap for snap, other than last year, he's been lights. I mean, he was lights out for his first 2 years. Last year definitely wasn't as good, but the 3-year run for Sauce has been as good as any corner we've seen entering the NFL in the last decade.
I honestly think a large part of it is because he has that. He even at draft time, I think so much of it is he's got that weird movement pattern. Like he's built gangly, and it doesn't look fluid, and it's not aesthetically pleasing, his movement style. And I honestly think that's a huge part of it. So, like, again, go back to Revis, right? Part of it is physical corners who play man coverage aggressively are inherently grabby and physical. And when number one, people don't like that. There's a cohort of people that seem to believe that coverage in the NFL is a non-contact sport, right? So if you touch the receiver, pass interference, throw the flag, right? Which is clearly an idiotic way of viewing it, because it isn't. It is a contact sport. The question is, where is the line where it becomes a flag versus that's just physical coverage? So you have one cohort of people that are just inherently wrong to begin with, right? So we can throw those people out as ridiculous. You have a second group of people who just dislike the extra physicality that some corners play the game with. And so you have people that always hated Revis, that always kind of disliked Richard Sherman sometimes for that. And those people I don't think are necessary. I think those are wrong people as well, though, are more defensively wrong than the other people. But those people are going to hate on corners like that, where they are physical. But the whole point of that style of coverage is you're always going to be physical. It's going to be a battle, and you just need to figure out where the line is and not stray too far past it. And then I think another aspect of it is the gangly nature of how he moves. I honestly think that turns some people off, where they look at it like, look at him. He's just not very good. He's surviving off his grabbiness, but look, that guy, the way he moves, he can't possibly be an elite physical specimen. And that's like when he did the draft, everyone was expecting him to run like a 4.5 because of the weird gangly movement. It just doesn't look like he's fast. And then he goes out there, runs a 4.4 flat, and everyone's like, well, okay, I guess he is actually an elite prospect after all. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.